everyone in Periscope world. Good afternoon to you. You are tuned in to Pro Manner. This is the Midday Manners, and today I've actually named it Midday Manner-isms. Good afternoon, Be Free. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here, and I saw someone else just came into the room. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you, and to my replay watchers, as always, thank you for tuning in. Now you have the chance to do all sorts of things as a replay watcher. You know that you can still give hearts. You can fast forward, which is a new thing. You can also share this broadcast. The only thing that you cannot do, it's fuzzy. The only thing that you cannot do as a replay watcher is to give comments. But I thank you for watching still. However, let me say this to you as a replay watcher. If you'd like to give some feedback, you can always do that through my Twitter account. It is the same. Good afternoon, Patricia Branch. Thanks for being here. My handle is the same on Twitter as it is here on Periscope. So you can find me at Pro Manner. So if at any time you're watching one of my scopes on replay and you'd like to make a comment about the subject matter, then please send me a direct message through Twitter, and we can converse about it that way. Thank you again for being here. Excuse me. Good afternoon to each and every one of you. Today I want to talk about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, because as a woman in business, as an entrepreneur, I am always, I guess, especially sensitive to the way that we present ourselves in the business world. And because I have worked with so many women over the years, especially being an etiquette consultant, more than not, my clients have been women, or they have been women leaders in their businesses who have brought me in to do training and such. And I have done some research over the years through my own consulting, interacting with women, as well as doing research, because I'm always fascinated in the different things that come through our body language. And so there's a woman in particular that I really admire who is an expert on the subject of body language, and that is Amy Cuddy. She is a TED Talk speaker. She has one particular TED Talk that has over 8 million views now about body poses and understanding the power of your movements. And she is a Harvard professor and a psychologist, and she's also just recently written a book called Presence, and there are lots of golden tips in there about coming into your own presence. And so I was motivated knowing that this is, the month of March is Women's Month, Women's History Month. And so I always think about themes as I'm writing articles and presenting on Periscope, and the different things that I do during the month of March to share specifically with women in business and how to help them build and grow. For those of you who are familiar with me, you know that my background for the last 14 years as the CEO and founder of Professional Manner, I teach business etiquette. And a lot of that has to do with the way that you present yourself. It's all about your presence and how you build for yourself around that a professional image, and how you build and strengthen your relationships by knowing the power of etiquette and how to use that in your business practices. So what I want to talk to you about today specifically is for women. However, gentlemen, if you have any of these habits or you recognize them in others, then you can learn from these tips as well, and you can share this information. So those of you who are tuning in now, if this is a subject matter that piques your interest, then stay tuned, because I will share some tips here as well as where you can find more resources. And throughout this month, I'm going to share other things specifically for women in business. Now, let me say this before I jump in, and the men in the group tune me out. There are some general rules that you should know about etiquette that applies to everyone across the board, as well as body language, understanding body language. I don't know, for those of you who are watching live, how many of you ever saw the series, the television series, Lie to Me? Have you seen that? If you have, give me a yes in the comment box. Lie to Me was a series that was all about the main characters were solving mysteries. Most of the time they were murder mysteries, but they were solving mysteries by understanding what's the word I'm looking for? The culprit or the alleged killer or whoever it was by reading their body language. And it's very interesting because they went into such detail. They were talking about micro expressions. You know, when you're talking and you give away a lie because you frown instead of smile, or different things that you do that gives your true intent or your true thoughts away. Well, there are other things on a larger scale that we can recognize when someone is sending a message that is different from what they're speaking. So what I want to focus on today is how we weaken our power in a business setting because of our mannerisms. Let me give you an example. There's something that I see quite often, unfortunately, when I'm in a large meeting. There's a mixed group, men and women, sitting around a table, and it's a planning session at work or some other less formal meeting. Let me say that people that you work with on a regular basis. And I see a woman who's making a point. She's talking, so she has the floor, and all eyes are on her. And while she's speaking, she's doing this. The head is tilted, she's making her point, she's playing her hair, and if it's a little bit longer, she's twisting it, and on and on. These are things that gentlemen do not do. We don't see gentlemen twirling their hair and tucking it behind their ears while they're talking. This is body language that suggests submission or a lack of confidence. Now I need to play in mine because I just messed it up. But playing in your hair, ladies, is a step down. It reminds the gentleman in the room that there's a difference. You know, there's the saying that none of us likes, of course, the weaker of the two sexes. Well, while we may argue that there's no such thing, there are such things that remind us all that there is a difference between men and women. Now, in a professional setting, and this is one of the things that I always talk about when I'm presenting on business etiquette as opposed to social etiquette, there should be no difference. When you're in a professional setting, the etiquette is geared toward the event or the situation or the person of ranking rather than male or female. Let me give you an example of what I mean as far as the difference between social and business etiquette. For example, in social etiquette, it is expected that when a man and a woman approach a table that the gentleman will pull the chair for the lady. However, in a business setting, that is only appropriate if he is hosting her and she as the guest. Now, if the woman is the one who's hosting the meeting and this gentleman is her client, she may actually pull the chair for him. Or it will go without anyone doing so and you pull your own chair. That's the difference between business and social etiquette. So when I'm talking about all things being equal and you being seen, ladies, as a professional first and a woman second in your business environment, that's what I mean. So these mannerisms, for example, the tucking of the hair or playing in your hair at all, suggests something less than professional because it reminds us of the difference between men and women, which should not consciously come up in a business setting. Another example that does that, ladies, is when you're wearing a dress or skirt of a certain length and you're seated and you cross your legs and part of your thigh, a bit too much of your thigh, is revealed by you crossing your legs at the knee as opposed to at your ankle. That draws attention to your femininity. This is something that can weaken your power in the workplace because, again, you are reminding your audience that there is a difference between you and your colleagues. Now, this may seem a little stretched, or you may feel like, I'm not sure. But let me suggest to you that there is proof in research that this does, in fact, make a difference. Here's another example, ladies. We do this in the way that we speak. Sometimes when we're talking, rather than making a statement that is a matter of fact, we say something that suggests question. And in doing so, we suggest doubt and a lack of confidence. For example, again, being in that meeting, sitting around the boardroom table, and everyone's throwing out ideas about what should be done to solve a problem, and I step up and I say, well, I think that maybe we should wait until we hear back from the client and then decide what to do. You see the lack of confidence in that? There was a suggestion of pause, or I'm not really sure. Well, it was the tone of my voice, it was the hesitation, and also the question at the end, rather than saying it this way. Well, I think we should wait until we hear back from the client, and then we can decide what to do. You hear the difference in the tone? You hear the level of confidence? That sounds more matter of fact, yes, this is what we should do. But if I sound like this, I'm not really sure, and you see what I'm doing as well, that's kind of the, well, I don't know. These kinds of mannerisms undermine your authority. They suggest that you do not have the confidence that you need, and therefore, should I have the confidence in you as well? Maybe not. These are things that cross our mind without always coming to the forefront as being a conscious note. However, it drives our decision making and that of other people. So these are the types of mannerisms that I'm talking about that can undermine your power at work. Another thing that we do, ladies, in our body language is we protect ourselves. We guard ourselves. And let me sit back and show you this. So someone is speaking to you and you do this while they're talking. Or you cross your arms. You can't quite see my arms. Let me make an adjustment here. Okay, so while you're talking, I'm blocking. Either I'm in disagreement with you or I'm protecting myself from you because something that you're saying is offending me. Anytime that you're touching yourself, you're covering, you're blocking, it shows that you feel you're on the defense. You're protecting yourself in some way. And that shows a lack of power. It shows a lack of confidence. And not only that, but you can get resistance from the other person who's speaking to you face to face when they see this type of body language. Again, it weakens your power. When you are not able to just stand with your hands by your side and have a strong stance, you always have to be touching yourself in some way, shape, or form, or you're hiding your hands behind your back, or you're posting them on your hips. Those sorts of things are the things that women particularly do. And again, it undermines your power. Is any of this making sense to you? If it is, then throw up a yes or give me some hearts. Let me know that this makes sense to you. Now, I'm going to prove to you that this is true. If you, again, I mentioned Amy Cuddy once before. If you follow her on Twitter, you will find that she has many articles and other resources talking about body language and the messages that sends to your audience. And a lot of what she talks about is what she calls power posing. You need to understand that makes a difference. Now, if you are a public speaker, you are an entrepreneur, you are a leader within your organization, and you're called upon to stand in front of an audience, there are certain things that you need to know as a speaker to bring your presence into the room and to command attention in that room. That's one of the things that Amy talks about quite often, and I share these things as well. You need to understand that the way that you even walk into a room will determine whether you get the attention you want or not. So ladies, once again, these little mannerisms that you do that suggest that I'm not on this level with you, it hurts. It can hurt you. Welcome to the team life. Thanks for coming back. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. We are talking about mannerisms that can hurt you in business, specifically for ladies, things that we do. For a quick review, I talked about tucking the hair behind the ears, that suggests being submissive or less confident, or just the fact that it reminds the other person that you're female first rather than a professional first. So there are things that we do to sabotage ourselves when we're presenting, not just in the format of a speaking engagement or leading a meeting, but just in general. There are things that we can do to harm ourselves, ladies, as we're presenting. Now, if you are a rising leader, you're not yet in a position of authority within your organization, that's okay. You need to understand these things now so that you can correct those bad habits. Now, let me give you a resource. It is one of my own. Every Monday, I do publish in the Alabama Media Group's on the Alabama Media Group website. It's al.com/business. I write a column called Monday Memos. And every Monday, I provide tips on different things about how to improve your professionalism and how to use etiquette in business. So today's article is about this subject, how women are unconsciously losing their power or giving away their power at work. So there's a few more suggestions in there. There are a couple of things that I make reference to. You're welcome to find that resource there. If you don't remember the website I gave you, follow me on Twitter. I just posted the link there. So I just wanted to give you a couple of quick tips about this. I'm going to go into this a little more as I do some etiquette coaching with entrepreneurs later this week. If you are interested in that, please join me Tuesdays and Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This year, if you've not joined me before, I've been talking about dedicating this year to entrepreneurs. Most of my clients in the past have been corporate clients. However, I myself am an entrepreneur who came out of the corporate environment, and I understand that there are unique challenges to entrepreneurs. And so I'm doing a series specifically for entrepreneurs and helping them to understand and navigate their professional environments with the understanding and the tools of business etiquette. So if you are interested in that, then please follow me here on Periscope and also on Twitter so that you can get notices of when I'm doing those sessions. And you can look forward to the Entrepreneurs Etiquette Boot Camp, which is coming up in just a couple of months. I am preparing and doing a lot more with the lesson planning, but you will get snippets of that through my Periscope sessions. So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you swipe up, click the follow button to follow me here, and also on Twitter. Of course, I'm on other social media as well. So that's my lesson for today. If you want to get the full scope of this, then look at my post on Twitter and you'll find the link to the full article, which also provides other resources. Thank you again for joining me this Monday for Midday Manners. I will be back tomorrow evening and again the following day with a few more tips. Thanks so much for being here and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.